How's it going, everyone? My name is Maximilian, and welcome to the second episode of Modern Warfare 3: The Online Warrior. If you happen to miss the first episode of Modern Warfare 3: The Online Warrior, it's essentially a video series by myself demonstrating and covering latest news, information, and the status of Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer in its current state at the time of each video. And the first episode was covering the pre-release, early newborn status of Modern Warfare 3's multiplayer, when a lot of people hadn't dissected which guns were good, which maps were the best, everything like that. So it was very early information and we were just figuring things out. But now that the game's been out for nearly a month, we have a chance to settle down and look at things. And the first thing I wanted to look into and have a conversation with you all about, because I think getting your feedback is important for running a show like this, is the maps. Now, when we talk about the maps in Modern Warfare 3, their design is much different from that of Modern Warfare 2, from the first Call of Duty 4, even from Black Ops or World at War. Now, this has been mentioned a lot by a lot of commentators, and it's specifically that the design of the new maps has been taken into account that they wanted to take away power positions, they wanted to take away lines of sight that came as the result of power positions, and it's very apparent. As you play through Modern Warfare 3, you'll begin to notice that there's a lot of corners, and there's a lot of stuff around every map. I think one of the best examples I can give you is that on Resistance, there's a highway at the top of the map that leads down like a road, and normally in other games there'd be like a car or two, but that car would be about, about waist high, and you could shoot people if they peeked up above the car. But now the cars are much larger because of the slope and because of the size of some vehicles. They offer full cover, so there's always something in your way. And I think in previous Call of Duties that would be a line of sight. Not really a power position, but it would pretty much come down to what player could shoot each other the fastest. And now you're allowed to get cover behind a lot of these things. And this is the same for a lot of the maps in this game. And from previous games, I think if we could take one map that is really similar in design, it would probably be Chinatown in Call of Duty 4, which was a downloadable map. A lot of the maps in Modern Warfare 3 remind me of Chinatown, how there's a lot of corners, a lot of small spaces to move around, and just cover absolutely everywhere. So what we're first going to discuss is what are the best maps in Modern Warfare 3. And the first one I'm going to mention is one that I would think a lot of people will agree on. Not everybody, but it's Village. For some reason, Village is a map that I always do really well on. I'm always able to find out what points to control, which areas are good to shoot down, and where to flank. Even though with the crazy respawns that are currently still happening in Modern Warfare 3, dudes spawn behind you a lot. But Village is a map that I'm able to stay pretty consistent in. It's kind of hard to have a really bad game on Village, unless you're just running up the middle constantly. However, there's a couple of other maps I'd like to mention, and Resistance is another one. Anytime Village or Resistance shows up on a cycle, those maps get my vote, absolutely. And I always tend to really enjoy these maps. Things might not be the best, when you play, but I never really get angry at the map. Even though Resistance has a lot of things in the way, I feel that it has really good flow, it has, you have good positioning, it can be a really successful map. Those, I would say, are two maps that I really like from Modern Warfare 3. If you guys could possibly put the maps you enjoy from Modern Warfare 3, leave a comment below. But what I wanted to do is take a look back to get some perspective on what you think are the best maps from some previous games. So, if I was to look back at Call of Duty 4, I would think that my absolute favorite map on Call of Duty 4 was Bog. Probably not a lot will agree with me, because Bog can be a pretty insane map, especially because of the spawn trapping in Call of Duty 4, but I loved Bog. I thought the map was absolutely amazing. It had a lot of clear lines of sight. It depended on you and how accurate you were with your gun and shooting the fastest. Aside from that, I really liked Vacant, and I loved that they brought it back in Modern Warfare 2. Vacant was such a fun map. It was rough sometimes if you got stuck in the computer room in the back of the map, which is I think where C was. But aside from that, you had to be really offensive and get the hell out of there to make sure that didn't happen. But still, Vacant is a ton of fun. In Modern Warfare 2 with OMA noob tubes, it was a nightmare at times. It was really not designed for Modern Warfare 2 mechanics, it seemed, but I still loved it. I still loved how it played. If we look back at World at War World at War had a lot of really good maps, and I don't think there was many that I absolutely despised. Pretty much the ones I disliked were the ones that had tanks on it, and I think a lot of you will agree tanks was so crazy in World at War that it kind of sucked the fun out of some maps. But thinking back, I really liked Airfield, and I really liked the one that they brought back into Black Ops, Cliffside. They redesigned Cliffside in Black Ops to make it like a gigantic golf course. And now looking back at Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 2 had a lot of awesome maps, even more so than I think than World at War. I enjoyed so many maps in Modern Warfare 2 that I eventually learned how to play, that I loved a lot of them. But if I was to focus it down into just a couple maps that I think were the best, I would argue that Afghan is one of the best maps ever in Call of Duty since like Call of Duty 4. Afghan, I think, is a ton of fun for a map. It looks great. It suits multiple playstyles as far as like sniping, medium range, and even close range weapons to an extent. It's insane to think that you can make Afghan a shotgun map, and you totally could. Other than that, I'm thinking that perhaps it's probably a tie between Favela and High Rise. Favela was one of those maps that was really corner heavy, especially in the middle, and when it came down to its similarity to some maps in Modern Warfare 3 and like that Chinatown syndrome, it kind of has that in the middle area, but it also has its power points, and it also has good positioning if you're able to get your team in a certain spot. Favela was always a ton of fun, but I would put it tied with High Rise. I loved High Rise so much. It's one of those kind of smaller maps, but at the same time it has two levels. The bottom levels where I always went because you were constantly flanking the enemy team. Tons of fun, and if you're able to get the drop on an entire team in the back of their spawn, it was an absolute blast. I'd say High Rise is easily tied with Favela as one of the more fun maps from Modern Warfare 2. If we look at Black Ops, I would argue that Jungle was my favorite map in that game, and I think its design was absolutely awesome. The positioning of the B flag was great. And the A flag and C flag were very separated in their own little areas, especially when I'm talking about domination, because that's why I primarily played. I think that Jungle was the best map in Black Ops. If I had to pick a second one, it would probably be a tie between Havana and Grid. They always offered a nice variety where you can be a sniper, you can be a close range guy, even having a shotgun, or have your mid-range game depending on how you played certain parts of each of the maps. And I think that's what's important, is that each map needs to have that degree where it doesn't specifically cater towards, you know, just one specific type of player, whether you're the SMG guy or the shotgun guy or the mid-range or sniper guy. It's hard to say. In Modern Warfare 3, the maps have a much different design approach, and that's what I want to get your opinion on. If you guys could possibly leave a comment below, I'll collect some of this information for the next episode, and we'll cover a different topic. In the next episode of The Online Warrior for Modern Warfare 3, we're going to talk about the best guns in the game, and I'm sure you guys already have a pretty good idea of some of the best weapons that this game has to offer, and some of the ones that might get a patch pretty soon. But we'll see what happens until the next episode. But thanks very much for watching. This has been Maximilian, signing out.